So for a regular 9 to 5, how can they treat their salary as seed capital?
As an employee, it is important to understand the importance of financial freedom.
We are joined by a man whose journey cuts across technology, finance, national development, and leadership at the highest level. He is also helping shape how a new generation think about work, wealth creation, and the future of enterprise.
Financial services was something that I've always been interested in because I found interest in the power of wealth, the power of money. If we were to invest in someone or a company, I look for character, capacity, and competence. I have to make sure you're not going to lose my money. You have to show me how you're going to grow the money. I want to see evidence that you're creating value that eventually will come back to me in the form of dividend, because what we have found over time is that people who have questionable character would always lose your money. You can buy the competence, you can buy the capacity, but you can't buy character.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Financial Talk with Victoria, the podcast where real stories meet real strategies. I am your host, Victoria, and I'm here on a conversation that I've so much longed for. We are joined by a man whose journey cuts across technology, finance, national development, and leadership at the highest level. He is the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Ministry of Finance Incorporated. Welcome with me, Dr. Armstrong Takang. Dr. Armstrong is not just leading Nigerian asset management transformation, he is also helping shape how a new generation think about work, wealth creation, and the future of enterprise. Today, we're going to be exploring the lessons behind his rise, the discipline that has shaped his leadership, and the practical cheat code young people can apply to build real, sustainable wealth. This is not theory, this is lived experience distilled for your growth. So sit back. This is one conversation you will love to replay. It's such an honor to be here with you, sir.
I'm glad to be here.
I'm absolutely delighted, sir.
No
Thank you so
problem.
much, sir.
No problem.
I have so much questions.
Sure, please go ahead.
Dr. Armstrong, you have a strong foundation in computer science and technology. Yet today, sir, you sit at the heart of Nigeria's financial and asset management landscape. How did that transition happen, sir? And how did you build the expertise that now enable you to manage and optimize the nation's assets?
Well, thank you very much for that question. I think it's a very interesting question. So let me say that computer science really is around problem solving, and you're trained to solve problems across different sectors, whether it is in healthcare, it is in agriculture, it is in entertainment. Every sector has a problem that needs to be solved. And when you study computer science or you study software engineering, you're trained to be able to solve problems. So it could be, for instance, you are brought in to resolve an issue in healthcare for solving a particular type of condition, health condition, on how to use data. And so you are expected to build systems, to build processes to be able to solve that. It could also be around agriculture, precision agriculture. Today we use a lot of AI in improving on the quality of agriculture, increasing the yield and productivity. We use the same thing for different areas as well, including real estate. So getting into investment and financial services was a natural thing. I mean, in addition to studying computer science, I also worked for an international consulting company. And by virtue of that assignment, I worked in financial services, insurance, academia, manufacturing, transportation. And so I used that opportunity to kind of understand different sectors. Now, financial services was something that I've always been interested in because I found interest in the power of wealth, right? The power of money, the power of finance. And so I was always curious about it. And so I sought for every opportunity to really build the capability and the expertise. So I started while I was in New York, and I worked for investment banks, for commercial banks, And I did a lot of work in that area. So that really, it was very clear to me that in addition to all the other sectors, investment management was something that I really should. I devote a lot more time on. So I combined both the experience of working in investment banks, in commercial banks, private banking, as well as also going back to school several times to improve on my knowledge base and expand my network. So that was really how that happened.
You're such an inspiration, sir. We're so inspired by your leadership and how far you've brought this country's economy and assets so far. It just shows to us that it's important. I'm also very curious about finance, and that's one of the things that inspired my channel and my podcast. And it just shows to us that nothing you studied is a waste.
Correct.
It's
always something helpful.
Yes.
And useful in it.
Thank you so much again, sir.
No problem.
Sir. The second question would be, sir, is there is so much pressure on young people to become entrepreneurs immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth is, not everyone will start a business today.
Correct.
For some young people, maybe later.
Mm-hmm.
So for a regular 9-to-5er, how can they treat their salary as seed capital? What does a realistic wealth formula look like for an employee?
Well, I think the key thing is really as an employee, it is important to understand the importance of financial freedom, right? The ability to afford the things you want to when you do need those things. And it doesn't happen by accident, right? So you need to be very clear in your mind where you're headed. And that's what I always tell young people, that it is never too early to have a plan. Every young person must have a vision board. The vision board allows you to really be clear as to what your direction of travel is. What is your purpose? What are you trying to accomplish? Because like they say, if you don't know where you're going, any route will take you there. And in most cases, it will take you to the wrong place. So the key thing is really being very clear as to what your purpose is. Where are you going? What is your journey? Why do you think you were created? None of us here came as a result. We're not an accident. Each of us is on this planet for a purpose. The question is, do you know your purpose? So that's the first thing. The second thing is being able to take steps in fulfilling that purpose, right? And in most cases, having the resources, financial resources, would help you do that. It is important to have that, whether it is having financial resources to do the things you want to do today, or to plan for the future, to plan for your retirement, to plan for any eventuality, including emergency, sickness, disease, right? As we get older, we don't have the capacity to work as hard as we can when we're younger. As we get older, we experience health conditions that require expenditure. You need to spend money to do that. But you need to have the financial resources to be able to take care of those things today as well as tomorrow. But to do that, you need to have a plan. You need to be disciplined, right? And it's not about how much money you have, but it's about having the discipline of saving and investing. So what I would say to every young person is that be consistent in saving a certain percentage of your income. It's not so much about the amount, but it is a discipline and the consistency of saving whatever you're making.
Yes.
So never ever say that I don't have enough so I can't save, because it's not the amount. It is a mindset. It is a discipline. It is a conviction. Once you develop the mindset that I have to save 10, 15, 20% or whatever it is that I make, and when I save it, I will invest it, what you find is that the effect of compound interest allows that nest to grow. But if you're waiting for that big break before you save, before you invest, it might never come. And so you realize that you're getting older and you have no financial security. You have no egg nest to fall back to. And that creates a lot of issues for many people. So for me, what I would say is, as a young person, no matter how much money you earn or you get as a gift, devise the discipline to save at least 10, 15, 20% of that. And when you save that, look for investment opportunities, whether you're buying stocks, shares, or investing in companies so that you grow that. Or buy real estate, even land. because those assets will appreciate over time. And it is your ability to secure that income in an investment asset that allows you to build wealth over time rather than consuming it, right? You should, first of all, save before you spend the balance. Don't say, let me spend and then whatever is left over, I save. Because in most cases, nothing is ever left over. The things we need are usually more than the resources and the money that we have. But if you have the discipline that the first thing I do is when I earn X amount of money, I keep 20% of it saved away, then then everything else has to fit within that 80%. You realize that over time, you're able to build the wealth and get the financial freedom that you need.
Thank you so much for that. It's very detailed. It was very practical. That's right.
Sure.
Thank you so much, sir. So we've seen so many startups collapse, even the brilliant ones. From where you sit right now, sir, what truly separates the business that succeed, economic pressure, from the ones that don't?
So I get that question a lot. The first thing I would tell you is that, generally if we were to invest in someone or a company, I look for character, capacity, and competence. Okay, let me say that again.
Okay.
Character, capacity, and competence. If the person doesn't have character, the other two don't matter. If the person has a questionable character, their capacity and their competence are irrelevant. So from where I sit, if we're going to invest in a business, the first thing, I'll look at those three things, but I'll place a lot of emphasis on the character of the individual. Because what we have found over time is that people who have questionable character would always lose your money. Clearly, that is something that I look for. And so for me, for young people, remember that your character is one of the most important things. Because if you're honest and you're decent, what tends to happen is that even if you made a wrong investment and it doesn't work out for whatever reason, the investor that gave you the money in the first instance can still trust you with another investment because they know you didn't do anything funny, right? But if you have questionable character, it doesn't matter what your competence or your capacity is, investors will be reluctant to trust you with their money. Because don't forget, as an investor, there are three things I look for. One is I have to make sure you're not going to lose my money. The second is you have to show me how you're going to grow the money, the value of it over time. And the third, I want to see evidence that you're creating value that eventually will come back to me in the form of dividends. So those three things are important. But if you have questionable character, chances are you're not going to, my money is not safe in your hands. And if the money is not safe in your hands, the other things don't matter. So that's one thing that I would encourage a lot of young people to prioritize. Let people know that you're someone of good character and they can trust you with their money. And if they can, then again, it becomes a lot easier for you to find the resources. You can buy the competence, you can buy the capacity, but you can't buy character.
Yes, it's priceless.
Priceless.
For young people watching us, I hope you place very heavy emphasis on your character because investors are watching and they're listening. So if you were 25 years old today and wanted to start a business with the intention to scale globally, which three sectors would you personally focus on? Where do you see the smart money flowing at the moment? And what advice would you give your younger self, both on what to do and what not to do?
In terms of priority sectors, food or agriculture is key. So long as human beings exist, there would always be demand for food, right? Across the value chain, from primary production right up to packaging, logistics, and distribution. There always will be, because we're going to eat. AI is not going to replace the need for food, right? The second is housing, right? We would always need houses, and that's why the value of houses, the prices of houses always go up. The other thing to also think about is the fact that the amount of land available, while the global population is growing, the amount of land available is fixed, and in some cases even reducing when you think about natural disasters, and you see about water encroaching and destroying land. So the land is either fixed or reducing. As a result, the value of that land would always be on the upward side. So the ability to invest in real estate is key. So that's an area that I believe would be key. The third is around healthcare. As human beings and as we get older, we would always need healthcare, even if it's just preventive medicine, curative medicine. We always need it. And that's why a lot of healthcare businesses that are well run tend to be extremely prosperous. Now, those are sectors that I believe are key. At least three, you said three. There are a few more, but at least those are key that have to do with humanity, and I believe would always be relevant. Then you can now layer that with technology, because technology is relevant in each of those areas. Financial service is also relevant in those areas because you need the financing to invest in those businesses, to finance the businesses in those sectors to be successful. In terms of core sectors, those are things that I would look at.
So when you say technology, what area exactly are you looking at for technology?
Well, right now, I mean, as you know, when we talk about the fourth industrial revolution, AI is one of those. 3D printing is clearly an area that is clearly important. But artificial intelligence or AI is at the heart of life today, right? It's going to change a lot of things. And in fact, I think that many people are underestimating the tsunami that is already happening. And the tsunami that is likely to happen as a result of artificial intelligence, right? Many young people will just wake up and realize that you are really not needed in your workplace because the skills, whatever you learned, whatever you think you can offer is no longer needed because the machine does it better than you do. Let me give you a case in point. If your job was just a researcher, as an example, right, that you do research and write reports, I can assure you that your days are numbered, right? Because with AI today, the speed with which you can get access to information, analyze that information, produce reports, is far more than any human being can do. So clearly, if that was it'd be a problem. Even lawyers, right? Lawyers that depend on studying previous cases to arrive at a judgment or to advise a client. You just realize that there are tools, AI tools, that can glean through millions of pages of cases and legislation to arrive at a judgment, right? So those ones clearly, that will also be something that you need to rethink what your strategy is. And of course, whether it is agriculture, precision agriculture, medicine, financial services, AI is really ravaging a lot of those businesses. And so that's clearly something that I believe that a lot of young people need to be aware of, not only in terms of their own career, but how it is transforming various sectors and also unearthing new opportunities.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
What personal or professional achievements are you most proud of? What would you look back on your journey so far? What are you most grateful for?
I'm grateful for life. The fact that I can wake up and come to work on my own is something that I don't take for granted. I'm very grateful for. I'm also grateful for the opportunity to work on things that I believe are transformational, that affect lives of people through our portfolio companies, through the work we do directly, whether it is in terms of financing the work that farmers do in terms of providing fertilizers that would increase the yield and feed Nigerians, or working on our MRIF program, the real estate investment fund that we're now able to give families homes and creating a base for investments. Those things get me excited. The fact that some of our institutions provide financial services that give people financial freedom, that for me is something that I'm proud about.
Yes. Gets me really excited.
Absolutely.
The work that MOFI do is brilliant, it's
Absolutely.
amazing, it's
Correct.
transformative.
Yeah.
And I think Nigeria is so lucky to have MOFI right now taking charge of the assets.
So if you think about the fact that through one of our portfolio companies, NMPC, distributing fuel, right? So we all have to move, right? We need fuel. You know, the crude that is processed to become petrol comes from there, right?
And the MRIF as well.
Yes, for the real estate fund. Yeah, for real estate. We're very excited about that. We believe that it is a seed that will blossom into something quite significant and huge over time.
Talking about the MRIF, sir.
Sure.
There is a common belief that government investment opportunities are only for the well connected. What's your take on that?
Well, the fact remains that there's the expression that your net worth can be determined by your network. So your connections and your network would always be relevant. There's no doubt about that. That's just a fact of life, right? But I believe that that is not the only thing that can make you successful. You don't have to be connected to know about these opportunities or to access them. You just need to be curious. You need to have a heightened level of interest in knowing what is going on. Because I've had several situations where there are government programs that are meant for the citizens, but many of the citizens don't even know, despite the fact that they all have phones and that information is on the website. And that just a quick click or a search will lead you there, and yet they don't know. So I think that it is important for a lot of our young people to be curious and to be very clear in their mind what they want to achieve. And once you're set in your mind what you want to achieve, somehow you would find what you're looking for. You have to seek that which you want to be able to find it. So the ability to seek, the curiosity to seek, and taking action is fundamental. Otherwise, regardless of what opportunities government puts out there, people will never get to know about it and they will never benefit from it. So we also have a responsibility to seek so we can find. We have the responsibility to take action so we can get to benefit from the things that are being put out there.
Matthew 7:7 in the Bible.
Indeed, absolutely, absolutely.
So finally, sir, what's your final chat to young professionals who are determined to build a global brand and leave a meaningful footprint?
Know your purpose. Be very clear about what it is. That's the first. The second is being able to take actions to ensure that you fulfill your purpose. So you can know, but you must take action for it to manifest. And when you take action, also be practical, that sometimes things may not necessarily work out the way you want them to work out. But somehow, eventually, it works together for your own good. So that's what I would say to young people. Be very clear about your purpose. You didn't come here just to loiter around or to have fun. You came here to fulfill a purpose. The question I ask you is that, do you know your purpose? Do you know your purpose? What is your purpose? Why do you think you were created? And after you've established that purpose, you must take action. It is not just about praying or reading or wishing. You must take practical steps. You must take practical action to ensure that that purpose manifests in your life and touches the life of others.
So using the practical steps,
Sure.
how did you discover your purpose?
I discovered my purpose by really thinking through the things that I love doing without somebody prompting me or without somebody paying me. Right? You feel it. There are things nobody needs to tell you. You feel it. And what I would say is, what are the things that you really think you're good at, that people tell you you're good at? What are the things you do without even being prompted? What are the things you do without being paid? It's like an artist, somebody who's a very good singer. They don't need to be paid to sing.
Yeah.
It comes naturally. It's like a good artist who is a painter. They do that without even being paid, right? And so many things. Somebody who is very good at cooking, you don't have to pay them to cook. They just enjoy cooking. So things like that can help you. Just having that kind of mindset can help you know what your purpose is. But ultimately, if your purpose is not impacting other people's lives other than yours, it's really not a purpose. Because you're not creating just for yourself. You're not created just for yourself. It's to touch humanity, to touch the lives of others. So that purpose has to be one that eventually would make someone happier, would touch the lives of other people. It's key to look at it from that perspective. And somehow when you work on something that makes others better, that improves the lives of others, somehow your own life also gets better. That's just it may be difficult to explain it, but that's just it. That's just a fact of life.
You've said a lot, and you've said everything. Thank you so much, sir.
No
A
problem.
quick fire one just before we go.
Sure.
If you were to pick cash or crypto?
Cash. I'm old generation.
Okay, because I know you're very busy, we'll leave that explanation for some other episode, some other time that we have the privilege to
Sure.
have you again in our show.
No problem.
Real estate or stock?
Stock.
I'm so interested to know why, but some of the time. So, what's one book that every young professional must read?
I would want you to read The Richest Man in Babylon.
I have that book, but I haven't
You should
finished
read,
it
you
yet.
should read it. It's such a basic book, but it has incredible wisdom in it that I
Mm,
believe that every human
so
being
beautiful.
needs to study that. I think it will be at the heart of what you do.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, you should read
Thanks,
it.
sir. We've come to the end of today's episode, sir.
No
It will be a
problem.
honor to have you some other time and some other time and
I
some
look
other
forward to
time.
that.
Thank you for this episode. I'm sure a lot of life will be impacted. So many of the viewers will be so blessed to have this wisdom that you have shared today. We appreciate your contribution to young professionals,
Sure.
and we're so grateful to have you existing. Thank you. And thank you also, my viewers, for staying tuned and always coming back. I appreciate you. Thank you.